Party people in the place to be. Live from 58 Dream Street. We're James with the Games. Diving back in to Britannia. Oh, let me adjust here a little bit so you can see a little bit of space above my head. Obviously very important to the viewing experience. We're diving in. Episode 10 of our Ultima 6 The False Prophet Let's Play. And as is often the case with Ultima, there's a lot going on. We have not hit any dead ends at all. We've got many paths to explore. And today our primary focuses are going to be continuing with these rune quests, continuing to just talk to folks, see what we learn, and the big one, finally getting around to figuring out the Moongate system that was explained to me by Lord British at the start of this game, and which I haven't made much use of because I've just never really made much use of the Moongates in any of the Ultimas I've played yet. I go through the one Moongate at midnight that you need to get to the lost Shrine of Sacrifice, and that's all I do. Or not spirituality, sorry. And that's it. But travel to certain ends of Britannia is a lot more tedious this time around. Partially because we no longer have an arcade-style wraparound world where sailing to the east far enough brings you back to the west of Britannia. So we got things to do. Apologies in advance if I don't catch the audio in time to stop it from being very loud at first. But hold on. Let's see what I can do. Okay, no, I think I've saved it. There we go. Okay. Now I just got to strike a balance where it's not too loud for me. It's coming through at all. I think that's good, but sound off in the chat. If I'm wrong, if I'm, you can't hear the music, you can hear the music, but nothing else, whatever. And let's get going. Let's journey onward. Oh my goodness. I'm just going to do my best not to think about what my hair looks like right now while we stream, while we play Ultima. So if I remember correctly, I am in Britain. I remember correctly. Excellent. And right now what I want to do is I want to talk to Lord British about apparently a talking mouse friend that he has that I just don't remember ever. I don't remember that coming up in Ultima's 4 or 5. Maybe it did and I just, I missed it somehow. But Lord British wasn't in his throne room when we got there. So I don't know what he gets up to during the day. I'm pretty sure he does not disguise himself as this one guy who keeps insisting that he's Lord British in disguise. But I don't know what he does. So we might have to wait till tomorrow and try to catch him early in the morning if by some chance Lord British is the only person in Britannia who keeps early morning hours to any degree. And Dupre is wearing armor. That just doesn't look like armor. So I'm just reviewing, what's the state of things here, particularly with Elo, because if we're in Britain, it could be a very good opportunity to resupply Elo with some ammunition. He's got 35 bolts and 17 arrows. Yeah. So perhaps that, we might not be able to get to the Fletcher in time either. But let's try. Well, that's of course the seat of government. Wait, is Lord British by any chance paying a visit to... No, he's not. He's not. I could have gone right through the government building though. I had options. But no, let's head over, see if we can catch the Fletcher before she closes up shop for the day. Because it seems quite possible that'll be enough to... Oh, that's Gwyneth. She could sell us a bow. Or buy bows from us. Do we have excess bows? That's also worth investigating. Hold on here. We have excess boomerangs, which might be worth taking advantage of. Oh, Shimino, use a sword. I mean a shield, buddy. Shimino's often going to wind up not carrying a shield into battle because he uses that hand for torches, and then I forget to correct him. Okay, taking a look here. Lots of money. That's nice to see. Okay, Shimino. Oh, lots of crummy armor. Maybe we can sell that here too. Does Elo have extra bows? No, I took care of those. That's great. One bow, one crossbow. That is all the ranged ammunition we need. And otherwise, okay. Okay, so thanks but no thanks, Gwyneth. Nice to see you. Just checking in to make sure you're holding things down. I don't know why. As far as I understand, as far as I recall, Elo's Bows is like a historical name now. Like it's not actually owned by Elo. and Gweno anymore. They sold the shop to their employee. But I could be wrong. I don't know, and I guess I don't care that much. Or maybe I care, and that's something I'll have to deal with later. Okay, let me pick up a gem here at the guild shop. Hello, Ephraim. And this man, that's an Ephraim if I ever saw one. I can't picture a person being named Ephraim and not having that pinched mouth. And that's an Ephraim haircut too. And also, I'm pretty sure if you name your child Ephraim, their hair immediately turns gray. What do I need? I was hoping to buy some gems. Shimino if he's got the money. Okay. Fine. I, the Avatar, with my big old stock of money. I'm going to buy 3 gems from you, Ephraim, even though I very well may continue with my policy of using the save game quick keys to gimmick those gems and never ever run out of them. So give me 3. Why not? Thank you, Ephraim. You sell torches? Shimino, 3 gold each. How many does he want? He'll take 3 more. 1 torch. That's all he can afford. Sorry, Shimino. I should have stocked you up with money, but that's okay. That's enough for now. And yeah, another thing about folks named Ephraim, I do believe that they conclude their business with a firm handshake. So that's a very well-drawn Ephraim. Completely in line with all of my expectations of what people named Ephraim would be like. Oh, yes. Lynn is at work. We're glad to see that. Hello. We want to buy, well, say bolts. Yellow wants to buy them. Bolts. Only sells bolts by the dozen. How many dozens? 2? You could afford them? Great. Yes. Yellow would also like some arrows. 2 dozen of those. Great. He was in the money for that. I'll probably wind up wishing I'd bought more, but that's alright. I like Lynn. We can come back. We can buy more from her. Yes, thank you, Lynn. It is a boon to our quest when we have ammunition. So, well appreciated. Do we have food? The Avatar and his companions prepared to eat when the sun goes down. Can we break bread? Or anything, for that matter. Not looking promising. Okay. But we have lots of not lots of money. Well, actually, the Avatar has lots of money. Oh, Gweno's carrying 6 loaves of bread. That's good. But we should get some more. Okay, the Avatar doesn't have much room. So how about the Avatar is going to move 30 gold coins, 50 gold coins. And he's going to give them to Gweno. And I think this is Gweno. It is. Tough to tell. You know, people spend a lot of time around each other. They gradually converge on looking and acting alike. And that has certainly happened to our dear friends Elo and Gweno here. Excuse me just 1 second. Oh, I'm going to liberate my mouse from the DOS box. Okay. Good to go. Clicking in. Got some arrows. Made use of our time there. Now let's, okay. Can we sell any of this junk that we're dragging around with us? Well, we could. If anyone's running the shop right now. Let's get some food while getting still good. Hey, Cullen. Covering us with flour here. That's alright. I mean, we sleep in the dirt most nights. Flour is probably a step in the right direction. As far as cleanliness goes. I'm just looking to get rations. You sell rations? Okay. What do you sell? Great. I, the Avatar, would like to buy... The responsible thing would be to get bread. Or rolls. And we should be responsible. We got some bread. 3 gold per loaf of bread. There's 6 of us. That's 18 per, like, all of us getting some bread to eat. So why don't we get... I don't need to do that math. I just need to say, give me 12. Oh, man. Okay. Great. 7 breads. Thank you. No, I better... No. We're out of here. As always, shopkeepers in Ultima, extremely resentful even after you've given them your business. If you aren't going to then give them even more... At any point you want to stop buying things at a shop in Ultima, and they're just like, alright, asshole. Fuck you. Like, yeah, thank you, fuck you, bye. Without the thank you even. So it's not I don't know, customer service. Not one of the Britannian virtues, to be fair, so... It is what it is. Okay, let's get out there in the wilderness, and we can sleep in the dirt for the night, and okay. Eventually I'm going to need to, ease up on everything the Avatar is carrying. What's weighing our dear Avatar down? Probably largely all this money, right? I don't know. Only 2.9 stones. It's more than nothing. I don't think that the runes are extraordinarily light. They're quest items. They should be. What about this heavy clothing? Not light. But what if the Avatar just wants to, change into his street clothes for some reason? What if that comes up? We better, just to be safe, we better hang on. Okay. Where would count... it's not even nighttime yet. What if Lord British keeps some late afternoon, early evening hours at the castle? I'm skeptical. But if there's ever a time to check... Oh, no. I'm still learning how to navigate in a context where I can't see anything because our range of view is very short. But let's go in. It really seems like the large sconces should provide more light, but my lord, nope. My Lord British is not there. I guess we could go looking for his bedroom. But I mean, he's got a kingdom around. He needs to get a good night's sleep. We shouldn't bother him. Let's go find a place where we can sleep and hopefully not get attacked by gremlins, but probably get attacked by gremlins. That's okay. Gremlins are very killable. And we could always use more experience points, even though I doubt that the gremlins are really giving that many experience points, but drip, drip, drip. That's how we fill the ocean. So let's head down here. Gremlin country. Can we rest? Yes, we can. Let's throw down a solid 9 hours, the most rest you can possibly have. The Avatar himself will stand guard heroically. And it's occurring to me now. We hear something. We're up. Yeah. Where are you stupid, lousy gremlins? It's actually a snake. Kind of seems like the Avatar could have not woken all of his friends up for this. Like if the Avatar was up all night anyway, standing watch, was it really necessary when he heard the snakes that he is killing himself now anyway to be like, hey everyone, get up, watch me kill these snakes? That is not real, it's not virtue of sacrifice, And the frustrating part here is that if we eat again, or if we sleep again, we're gonna eat all that bread that we just purchased. So, I guess we're on the hook to spend the evening hunting snakes in the grass and walking about, doing whatever. It is what it is. Should I try one more time? Just bite the bullet. Eat some more bread. Carbo load with the crew. We'll just do an 8-hour sleep. The amount of sleep that we should all try to get every night. Shimino, you stand guard this time. Maybe Shimino... No, Shimino is more likely to hear something and wake the rest of the team up. Oh, thank goodness. We're up. We wasted a bit of daylight, but the good thing is that most Britannians... Hail! Lord British. Regular British. Very glad as always to have you with me. How has your weekend been treating you? Okay, come on, Lord. Now, non-regular British, Lord British, is hopefully presiding upon his throne. Oh, here's Lord British. Problem solved. No, I see through this horse shit. Sorry, dude. I do not believe that you're Lord British. Okay. Here's our jester. Come on. Come on, my liege. Yes! What I like to see. So. Oh, man. Yeah, we also have enjoyed, over here in Halifax, a little bit of false spring, followed by some cold. It hasn't quite gone snowfall yet, but I mean, there's always the possibility, like late into April, of a sudden snowfall. But yeah, you can never predict, like, there's no pattern. It's never like, okay, finally, we're into the warm spring weather. Like, it's actually much cooler and chillier out now. I might, but here's the thing that I remembered, because you said, like, you know, Lord British told you about the Orb of the Moons at the start of the game, and I thought, I only sort of remember that and none of the details, but then I remembered that the Orb of the Moons is a very, even though it's not an item in Ultima 5 that you actually get, it plays a very important role in the plot, and I remembered the role that it played in the ending. So I realized that, okay, this is not just moonstones that is going to do the travel. So I'm gonna poke around with the Orb of the Moons, and we're gonna see, you know, maybe I'm gonna wind up being like, okay, I still don't get it. Tell me, but I think I might be able to figure it out. But first, my lord, do you have like a pet talking mouse, like a cartoon mouse that you could? Yeah, you got a mouse. I hast heard of thy little friend. Would you get this, Lord British? You know those very important runes that you entrusted to your Lord's mare? The one in Jalome was just given to some random guy who won a fighting tournament, and then the very same night that he won it, he got drunk to celebrate and lost it. I don't know. I really hope that come back in Ultima 7, and the very first thing Lord British says is, you're going to need the runes, and I have them all right here in a safe deposit box, because I've realized how bad my former policies were. Yes, I've heard of your friend. Sherry! Oh, that's a nice name. Sherry the Mouse. Cool. Yeah, you should be proud of her. I mean, assuming that she's a good mouse. If she's some piece of shit mouse, maybe you shouldn't be so proud. Yeah, it's possible. We could ask Smith if he's ever seen a talking mouse. I don't just want to see her, though. I'd like to borrow her. Oh, come on. Lord British. Can't you get a dedicated habitat for Sherry? Oh, okay. Fine. I'll be back this evening to watch you sleep, my lord. My liege. Hubert the Lion. What's that story? He knows it by heart. Oh. Hubert the Lion was haughty and vain, and especially proud of his elegant mane. Okay, so this is a story that someone wrote. You should credit the author. Yes. But what if he's ever in, maybe he needs to forge allegiances with most kind to maintain morale and logistics lines in the war against the Hay. But conceit of this sword is not proper at all, and Hubert the Lion was due for a fall. Is that the whole story, Lord British? Does the fall not actually happen in the story? You just hear that it would happen? Cool. Yeah. I can't help you with it either, man. That was not a cool story. That was a pretty weak story. Okay. Great. Thanks, Lord British, for confirming to me that I need to waste the day waiting for the sun to set so you go to bed. Might as well try to remind myself where Lord British sleeps. So at least we can get there quickly when the moment comes. Probably not in this room with all these beds. Oh. Rude of me. Leave the door open. Pardon me. Obviously, Lord British is not going to be sleeping in the basement. That's not his room. That's some other personage's room. Okay, this is promising. thinking this is his room. It's very elegant. Cool. Alright, so short-term goal, waste some time for the day. Actually, I might as well go buy more food since the interruption of those snakes forced me to sleep twice, and the avatars and his companions cannot go to bed if they have food in their possession that they haven't eaten. Or if they have food in their possession and they haven't eaten. They don't necessarily eat all the food every time they go to bed. But even if they went to bed, got interrupted, and are going back to bed like an hour later, like, we gotta break fast. And we gotta keep our fitness levels up. Okay, wait. Escape. Cancel for a moment. Because I should deal with this by... The avatar is awful close to overloaded. He should not be the one carrying the bread. We're gonna spend 36 gold on bread. Let's ask Jana to deal with the bread. Oh. 36 gold to Jana. And then we'll buy some bread. Here we go. Cullen, hello. We were just here yesterday and we're here again. So we'd like to buy, and Jana is going to be making the purchase today. Oh, we got bread last time. Give us some rolls. 1 gold each. Okay. Probably not as nourishing, but much cheaper. And we gave her 36 gold. What? Did I? Okay. 18 rolls. Cadence! Hello! Cadence, you know what I realized? Wait. Yes. You weren't there. This is, we're veering into talking about Star Control for a moment. But in Star Control 2, in my first playthrough, I played it out hard in the sense that I kept flying away and exploring the galaxy long after the Korra extinguishing cleansing had begun. And I went until I ran out of fuel, and I decided to flee to the far edge of the galaxy, and I went to the top left, and I was like, what's in this? What do I find in the top, like the furthest left systems? And I explored them, and I didn't find anything. And then I ran out of fuel, and they came and they killed me. And then, of course, yesterday, as you saw, I finally maxed out the tip tree for contemporary tips from the Melnorm and learned that, oh, all my thinking about like trying to cross-reference coordinates had nothing to do with finding the Cilantro source. It was all just about literally just asking the Melnorm. And they specified Beta Corvi. And so this morning I thought, when I was getting ready for this, I was closing down the map for Star Control, and I thought to myself, where I should look. Where is this Corvi constellation? So that I know where it is. And I looked, and it is, of course, in the top left of the galaxy. And I realized that I probably went through there, but when I saw gas giants, I was just like, gas giants. So I was like this close to figuring it out on the first playthrough by blind chance. Instead, yeah, here we are. But we'll be very efficient figuring this out in the third playthrough. Alright. No need to be efficient when you're having fun. Unless you're having fun speed running. In which case, being efficient is part of the fun. I'm sure there are people who... people speedrun everything. So I'm sure there are people who speedrun Ultima 6. I can't imagine the appeal of that. But, people love speedrunning everything, so... It does something for somebody. Meanwhile, the exact opposite of speedrunning. Wasting time deliberately. Waiting for something to happen. Yeah, I found the general hint from the arrow, which is how I know the gas giant thing. But yeah, I certainly did not... Oh, hey, who's this? I probably know her. Kitten. Hey, Kitten. Got a glove on one hand. Anyway, I'm really interested to finally find out who are the source of these probes and what's going on here. There's a lot that I'm interested to find out, obviously. This game I am really enjoying. It's odd. Ultima 6 is the one that like I played a bit in the 90s and like planted the bug in my mind that I wanted to be an Ultima person who plays Ultima, which I didn't start fulfilling till last year. But I started with Ultima 4 because Ultima 4 is kind of the one where the ideals of the series came into being, and it's a trilogy, 4, 5, 6, leading up to 6. So I thought I'll build to it, and I thought that ultimately I was going to be building in my enjoyment because I was going to wind up liking this one the best. And I like it a lot, but I think that I like Ultima 5 more. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a great leap forward for the series and the genre in many ways. But, you know, it's the first stutter steps of a new paradigm, whereas Ultima 5 was the perfect refinement of the development of everything the series has been doing up till then. Hello, kitten. I've somehow eliminated your face from my thing, but I don't have anything to ask you. Yeah. Ooh. Unicorn horns. Sounds cool. In all my travels here in Britannia, I will say I've never met a unicorn, so maybe you're being lied to. But you never know. Well, I would certainly vote for I'll vote for the series, but yeah, you gotta, if you're not in the mood to play a game casually, I feel like Ultima is a beautiful series for casual play by serious gamers, in the sense that like you don't really need to like min-max to thrive in the game. You know, you don't need to grind much. I don't think I've ever done any grinding at all, really, in any of the Ultimas I've played. And a huge amount of the game is much more just about talking to the people and learning what they have to say and learning about the world and finding things and exploring. It's really satisfying in that way. Dedev, welcome! Yeah, I do a fair bit of... it's the funny thing where, like, the reason that when I tried to play the Ultima series in the 90s when I was first intrigued by it and, like, bounced right off it was a complete inability to deal with, oh, hey, look, I can tell, you know, Sherry comes out of here at some point. I'm waiting around for a talking mouse to emerge right now. The only solid clue I have is that she comes into British's bedroom at night. So, I'll keep wandering in the throne room till Lord British goes to bed, and then I'll just follow him, watch him sleep. Is he going to bed? He's moving real fast. I think he's probably got other things to do before he goes to bed. Oh, here's where Sherry comes in to British's chambers. Or behind the mirror. She's got a whole network. How about that? Yeah. So I take extensive notes now, and still constantly I'm like, you know, blank, just didn't write something down that turned out to be really important. But bit by, I think I'm doing better here in Ultima 6 than I did in Ultima. Oh, I see her. She's here listening to stories, incomplete stories. If the story that Lord British shared with me was any indication. Yeah, but you gotta take notes, and you gotta really enjoy the keyword-based conversation system, I think, to get much out of Ultimas 4 through 6. By Ultima 7, from what I understand, it goes to the much more common now, you know, like in Star Control. Like, here are your list of dialogue options, and select the one you want to say. Hi, Sherry. Oh, don't. Yes, Dupre, I'm talking to a mouse. You were there when I was talking to Lord British earlier. This is a talking mouse. Unless Lord British also just hangs out with regular mice. Knock it off, Dupre. Alright, so what do I gotta say to Sherry to get her to talk? Yeah, Squirk. Or Squeak. What's your name, dear? There we go. We just gotta talk to her like she's a person. She is Lord British's friend, Sherry. You have any cheese? What if I say yes? If I'm lying, I feel bad. Oh, Sherry, you're killing me here. I need to get cheese for Sherry. And that means that another day, another full day on this quest. Oh yeah, British is very right there. That like, there's not only that, there's a ton of world building, but then yeah, there's a very deliberate attempt to, you know, give you something to chew on that isn't just, you know, can you find the amulets 3 and defeat the evil wizard. Which, yeah, really, like, it does. It adds a lot. And the writing gets better and better with every one. Like, Ultima 4, the world has a personality. Oh no, because, I blanked on the fact that I'm allowed to take whatever I want from Lord British's bedroom. Arg. Well, we're going to sneak in there while he's sleeping. We're going to get the cheese. You can tell that even with the gargoyle invasion going on, times are pretty good in Britannia. Oh, there's Sherry. She's still on the go. If I can catch her. If I can catch up. You got some cheese in here, British? No, he doesn't have the kitchen, of course. Yeah. Okay. Sherry, just... Oh, God damn it, Sherry. Follow me, Sherry. Follow your nose. A plate. It's a cheese wheel. It's a cake. Not a cheesecake. Rolls. Oh, come on. Ha! Butter. But this is cheese then. Okay. You know what, Shimino buddy? Maybe light us up a torch. We don't need to go squinting around and wait until we step on Sherry's tail. Thanks, buddy. Okay. Hopefully Sherry hasn't hunkered down for the night. Seems like, you know, she's probably mostly nocturnal. But at any rate, worst case scenario, we just gotta find her tomorrow. Ha! Can we just talk to you from here? Yes, we can. Okay. Whew. Yeah, so to finish my thought, Ultima 4, the world has a ton of personality because of the introduction of the virtue system, and, you know, it's kind of forms a kingdom. It's a weird oversight, and then on top of that, the state of Britannian lighting technology is also like a torch that you can hold in your hand creates like daylight conditions, but then they have these big braziers like that you see everywhere, and they cast like a little bit of dim light. Like, there's some kind of inefficiency in the fuel we're using for our large lighting sources. Yeah, like Ultima 4, the world has a ton of personality, but the NPCs largely just like most of the NPCs just want to tell you that they like the virtue that their city is founded upon. Or they want to say like, I heard that this person knows something about this quest object. Then by Ultima 5, like there's richness and depth to like everybody. And then here we get portraits and stuff starts looking cool. Squeak, squeak, squeak. What's your name? It's Sherry. I do have cheese. Yes, you can. Okay, we're friends now. What do you do, Sherry? Ka-choo. Alright. But you love Lord British, right? Yeah, what's your favorite story? Is it Hubert the Lion? Oh, yeah. I can tell you that story too, by heart. Okay. Would you be willing to help me? Ah, problem solved. Yes, I do. Boom. We got her. I'm going to... Oh, she's just joining the party? That's great. My gut would have told me, you know, you get a mouse who's on your team in an RPG and she just becomes an inventory item until you deploy her. No, Sherry is just going to march along with the party, which really, for her, when you think about it, must be exhausting. Like, she's keeping pace with beings that you know have a step range far longer than the length of her body. But she's got a serious spirit. Okay, so now it's time to investigate the fast travel system, which is given to you so much earlier in this game and so much more directly than in Star Control, and yet I found the Star Control one first. Okay, so yeah, she might play a pivotal role. Maybe those shrines where the one or two shrines where I just cannot land a hit on the big gargoyles. Maybe she's got their Achilles heel. She can just gnaw on them from behind. Okay, so I threw down the save, and with a little bit of prompting from British, I recall that the Orb of the Moons is probably going to play a pretty big role in using the gates properly. But what is the Orb of the Moons, and where is it? That's just a moonstone. That's an invisibility ring. Just remember that I have the axe to become... Oh dear. Oh dear. Where is the Orb of the Moons? Okay, it's just really unspectacular looking. So I was like, just a little piece of scrap junk here. Okay. Well, we got a save dam, so worst case scenario, we just load. Restore. Use it here, I guess. A red Moongate appears. I suppose I should look at the moon. Make a note. It's a half moon. And when we all... Sherry, a fearless mouse. Wow. We are now at a dungeon? Which dungeon? A dungeon. But I don't even know which one. Let's see if let's gimmick a gem. Or even maybe not. Maybe we'll just use it and accept that it's expended. But we use the gem. Okay. So it's a dungeon that is near the south edge of a coast. I'm going to look at the map. I'm not confident that I can narrow this down. But maybe I can. Gotta get my supporting texts open here. And here we are. Okay. So, well, there's sacrifice. I don't think this is dungeon sacrifice. It's definitely not compassion. Compassion is not near the water. Not compassion. The opposite of compassion. There's the answer, British. Thank you. I should have assumed that would be the case, since it is what happens in every other Ultima. Oh, there's someone big around here. That's good to know. The Shrine of Diligence? What the hell is that, Shimino? Don't just say that like it's some obvious thing that I should understand. Alright, well, we're sidetracked now, because I'm curious about this. Come along, Sherry. Also, entering dropped us in the middle of a room with no obvious exit. I'm not super surprised that these doors are locked. Oh, there's a ladder down at least. And if we take that ladder down... Okay, so this is a clamber up into kind of dungeon, but it's called a shrine. Well, cool. Let's poke around. Oh, Thetiv, you absolutely should, by the way. I can't recommend it enough. It's I was not expecting it to be. I was expecting to really enjoy it because I really enjoyed Ultima 4, and I figured it'd be the next step. I think I came away from it being like, this is probably one of my favorite games that I've ever played, and like top 5 RPG easily. Really, really cool game. Oops. Yeah, we don't use the dungeon, we just walk in. Okay. Do we have lockpicks with us? I think we have a few. And, you know, probably this is a... Yeah, it is, like... I think it's like Ultima 4 with everything. Not like, the menus are better, that's true, and so are the storylines. But so is every other aspect of the game. The sound, the graphics, the combat system, the equipment system, the magic system, the size of the party. Just make the party a little bit smaller, it all gets better. Quality of life features. Yeah. Like if somebody said, like, you know, my favorite in the series is still Ultima 4 because... I can think of many reasons that someone might still prefer Ultima 4, especially if they played it at the time and it was like a paradigm shift in how they understood what an RPG could be. But playing them both in the same year, 30 years later or so. Unlocked. Let's see what's through here. Good work, Shamina. Yeah. I fall heavily. Oh, magic locks. Oh wait, but we have magic. Do we have magic unlocked now? Let's take a peek in the Avatar's spellbook. No, I don't. I'm capable of learning it, I think, but I haven't found someone to teach it to me. Put a pin in that. Okay, so we might not be doing too much exploring here, but I ought to start taking notes on my Moongate experiences in the main info sheet of my very large Ultima 4 spreadsheet. Moon phase and red gate. Half moon. I can't remember if the half of the moon being the left side would mean that it's waxing or waning, so I'm just going to say half moon left. Shrine of Diligence. Now maybe this is not even the mechanic, but very well could be. In Ultima 4, to follow up on what you just said, British, it's so frustrating that the enemies can shoot diagonally and you can't. And it's delightful in Ultima 5 when you can. It really enhances the experience. Okay. So, I mean, we might as well see if any of these will open a path. Because then we can just restore the save game. Get all our things back. I'm also going to want to, next time I buy a guild shop, probably Shimino should have a few more skeleton keys or lockpicks or whatever they're called. Lockpicks. We're just calling them lockpicks now. Left side lit, that's waning. Thank you, Thedev. Because I do love to have, as a technical writing teacher, I'm fond of precise terminology. So, half moon, waning. Oh yeah, and that makes sense to me, because it's like it fills in from the side. Yeah. That's intuitive. I can keep that in my head. Just where I like to keep information. But also here in the spreadsheet. One. Oh, I can erase this little thing. Had some notes to myself for something I've long since solved. Finding the Rune of Compassion. After day one, I was like, I have logical proof that it must be near Britain. And of course it was. It did not take long to find on day 2. Okay, so we've succeeded. We've unlocked another door. And following the laws... Oh! We have at least 2 doors that are also real doors here. Go figure they're locked. Keep at it, buddy. Hold on. Do you not expend lockpicks on success? Because that makes logical sense. Yes! Well, that's nice to discover. Are these cats? We're loading the save. It's okay. We can feel comfortable bringing Sherry in here. Cat doesn't want to talk. So it's nothing like my cats. Are the cats attacking us? Sherry's wounded. Yeah, I'm uncomfortable now. Especially because, like, I don't want to kill these cats. I do not want to... Murdering cats is kind of a thing that I don't want to entertain even. Okay. This is cool. We will learn about this later. Okay. So there's one thing about the Orb of the Moons. At least, I don't know. Are both moons always in the same phase at the same time? I'll pay attention to that now. Now I've got a real incentive to pay attention to that. So let's get to our ship, which I certainly hope I docked it at the dock. On account of, I certainly don't remember specifically where I docked it. And we will start moving. Oh yeah, this is surely our ship, right? Right. Heck yeah. Alright. We're on the seas. Tell you what, British. I want to do it with one other moon phase. And if I don't feel like I've started to learn something, I'm ready to just have the mechanics explained to me. Because sailing to Jalome is a real drag. So if this is the last time I ever do it, I'll be happy. Bum ba bum 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 ba dum bum bum ba dum bum bum. Much appreciated. Bite your fingers, right? Alright, and there's... I have the sextant. What would a compass do? Cause like... Ooh. Here's a situation. I don't know exactly where we are. Ah, yes, I have the sextant. Watch out for bone bits, everybody. Okay. So this is a... Oh no! Oh! Brutal. I'm sorry that happened. Long ago, when I was young and cool, my little band was on tour. We played one show in a different province. Yeah, I suppose just writing down the coordinates of every town when I'm there would be helpful. Just for the real cramped navigation. Like, I don't know if, like... I think there's a real chance if I stop playing this game today, never played Ultima again in my life, there's a real chance that, like, decades from now I would still remember where the cities are on a map of Britannia. But the precise location would be helpful, because there's a lot of times when you might be, say, on the open sea, completely unable to see anything because of the extremely narrow play window. And then it gets real frustrating. Like, just trying to... Like, when you want to go to New Maginsia, oh, come on. Does it have to be like this? Yeah, when my band was on tour, and well, we played one show in a different province, but we had to drive a bunch. And on that tour, our singer, both, while like sleeping in the car while other people were like getting stuff out of the car, some ridiculous thing like that, he like the door was open and he let his hand like fall, into it, and then someone slammed the door shut and he's just like screaming, and we let him out, and like his hand was pretty messed up. And then later, when we got to the rec center that we were playing the show at, they had big exercise balls, and they were just the other guys in the band. I wasn't involved because I had my own reasons to not be involved. I was not feeling great that day. That's a whole other story. But the other guys in the band were like flinging these big exercise balls around, bouncing them off the ground. And they tried to do a thing where our singer Tim jumped into the air, and then they would spike the ball underneath him and it would bounce up behind him. And you can see where this is going. It just bounced off the ground and went right up in between his legs, and as he was coming down, and then he landed and he bounced on his own. And so he had a real rough tour. He came home with a lot of brutalized appendages. Alright. We're making our way-ish. One nice thing about not having a wraparound world anymore, and it's really the only nice thing, is that if I'm not aligned with Jalome and I sail too far west, I'll just hit the edge of the world. Which I think is a real possibility right now. Like moments like this, you're like, it'd be great if I had any reason to believe, like, I think I'm moving. Feel like we're moving, but are we moving? So what's going on here? We found something. Alright. I should be looking at the map while I do this to try to match shapes to the things I find. This could be the island where the Shrine of Valor is, which would make Jalome right up here. Or I could... Ah! Hooray! Pull up, tie our boat off, throw down a save, just 'cause it's good practice. Save now and then, and yes, check the. Let's just verify where we are in the coordinate system of this fair land. Does the Avatar himself hold the sextant? Nay. Or did he? Full disclosure. I'm not 100% confident I know what a sextant looks like to eye it. Jana, laden down with rolls. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, it's this. Hooray! Oh, wow. We've made it. Okay, I like this coordinate system. Better than the runic script-based coordinate system previously. Okay, so Jalome. I guess I'll just 64 south, 19 west. Yeah, absolutely. It seems like the kind of like. Seems like you could do a remastered version where that's the only thing you changed, is to make the viewing window just zoomed out a little bit at a slightly better resolution, and like don't even fix the bugs, and people will be like, this is revolutionary. Is the tavern just open at night? Can we just? Is this gonna be as easy as it seems? Hey Sherry. Yeah, me too, but can you help us now? No, like, can you go in this hole? Okay, Sherry. No, it does not. Yikes. For one thing, Sherry, what's your plan? Maybe Sherry understands the Moongate system better than I do. Okay. The torch is burned out. Well, okay. Perhaps the answer is in dialogue with the people. Because some of the folks who hang out in the bar... Oh, Sherry is a party member. That thought had briefly occurred to me, and then I was like, I don't think they're going to accommodate the 7 key just for this. But I could have just clicked down and verified. Alright, thanks, gang. Sherry's Great Adventure. I do really like this. It's a nice touch. That Sherry can occupy the same square as a full-size person. I really kind of thought that the rune would be, you know, buried a little bit deeper. You're telling me that all the valorous heroes of Jalome worked on this hole all night and nobody just tried reaching in and then to the right? Oh, well, like, I know the number thing. It was purely just, I was like, there's no way there's no way there's 7 for solo mode just to deal with. And yet, now we know. Now I know. Okay. What was I just thinking? Oh yeah, gotta do this stuff. Can Sherry just get things? Sure can. Rune of Valor. She gets an invisibility ring. We're gonna let you keep the cheese, Sherry. But you're gonna hand over the other stuff. Sherry can be thoroughly equipped. She hasn't even eaten the cheese I originally gave her. She's a hoarder. But we'll take the really important stuff. And then Sherry can keep the cheese. And see, that might be... But then that just brings back my other question about, like, can we not get someone to just do a little stonemason work here and widen the hole? Then again, the folks of Jalome decided we should take this very, very important sacred object and give it away in a combat tournament. And then the person who won it was like, let's all go get drunk and toss the rune around. And nobody in Jalome was like, hold on. What if sometimes discretion is the better part of valor? So I can believe that none of them even... They were all just like, no, too jacked. I'm too jacked to reach through this hole. And then they probably spent the night arguing. It was like, I can't even get my handings. My fingers are too jacked. Yeah, you think you have a problem because you can't get your bicep in. My forearms are too thick. I'm so tough I can never stop making a fist, so I can't get my hand through here. Okay. Triumph. Ridiculous triumph, but triumph nonetheless. Oh. Alright, the rest of this is Sherry's adventure. We'll just leave the rest of the party there. Okay. Oops. No, not O. 0. Sorry, Sherry. Okay. Okay. Someone correct me really quickly if I'm wrong, because I did just save and we can fix it. Thank you, Thedev. I felt really good about it when I said it, so I'm glad that it resonated. So I tell this Mose to leave, and she leaves the party. And the mechanics of her having to get from an island back home do not actually affect her, and she just teleports. If that's not true, and I'm actually accidentally killing Sherry by saying goodbye to her here, someone tell me, and we will escort her home. Because she is very cute, and she was very helpful. Yes. You sure can, and you can, work on that cheese, and... Did she... Okay. Sherry, that cheese was for you. You don't have to give us back the cheese. No, she was just going to give us the other objects. Yeah, okay. That's thoughtful programming. They're like, we need to make an exception in the NPCs give all their stuff to you. No, wait, never mind. I'm an idiot. It's right there on the ground. That's your cheese, Sherry. I'm not taking it. Okay, so some of the shrines are pitifully easy to liberate, and their defenders, their occupiers, the gargoyles, are weak. And some of the shrines, at least thus far, have been literally impossible to liberate because I can't land a single hit on the gargoyles holding them. Let's find out which one the Shrine of Valor is. We might also have the option of liberating the shrine with cannon fire, an artillery-based strategy, but nah. Because if it is if it's a doable fight, it seems like a good spot to earn some experience. See what we can do. And Valor, I think Valor is going to be courage alone and therefore only raise strength. Whereas we already have the Shrine of Honor liberated, which is courage and truth. I really ought to. Obviously, I got some wall decorating to do eventually, and I do have some art that I already own. But it seems like if I could get a cool. Are there Ultima fans on Etsy? Can I get a diagram of the principles and the virtues? That'd be a nice thing to have on the wall behind me. And it'd be practical, too. Okay. Here we are still... Oops. On the island of Jalome. Just a little bit further south, it's a different island. And it should be, unless my memories... Oh, okay. That's how it is. Oh, I thought maybe we could talk this out like gentlemen. Instead, you fool! You're forcing me to kill you. I want to make sure I don't waste any ammo, so... I think... Okay. For one thing, boomerangs don't have ammo. That wasn't a great shot, but I don't think it was actually obstructed. This dude is getting very little support here from his comrades. He has wandered away from the pack. He is opting not to, say, sound an alarm, call for help. He's just going to fight it out. He's grotesquely outnumbered. I mean, you can't say he's not brave, I guess. Oh, that sounds like a great accessory. A cool way, because, like, you're both, you know, it's one of those things where, like, you have something, it's about the video game that you love, and, like, there's a chance in some situations people are going to think that's dorky, except that nobody would necessarily look at that and be like, oh, so you think you're literally the avatar? They're just going to look at it and be like, cool, honk. But then, of course, yes, you always raise that risk when you hand off an object to a significant other. You never know how long that's going to last. Not a story about objects, but about completely changing the course of your life. A buddy of mine, in the end, this story works out really well, but he kind of hit a point in his life where he was like, I want to finish my PhD, and I don't want to keep working for this startup that I'm the CEO of. And so he gave up both those things, and he lived here in Nova Scotia, in Halifax, and he gave those up. And then his girlfriend at the time was like, well, I'm moving to Ottawa for my government job. I think it was a federal government job. And he was like, well, we should be together, so I'm coming with you. And he went to Ottawa, and then a month later they broke up. So he was just there in Ottawa with no plan. But the happy ending is that he's a very charismatic guy, in addition to, like, being very educated. He had cool experience from his studies and his work as a CEO. And so he paid for one of those special LinkedIn memberships where you can direct message strangers. You don't have to be connected to someone to message them. And he just started cold calling people in the clean energy sector and being in Ottawa and being like, hey, want to have coffee with me and I can tell you why I'm great? And suffice to say, right before he left Ottawa, he was my teaching assistant. And now he makes more... Well, after his latest career move is finalized, he will be making more than double what I make. And that's not a thing about me being poorly compensated. It's just a thing about his wild success. Okay, if that one regular-sized gargoyle was the entire occupying force, I think we got to give him credit for valor. But, weird. Okay, fine. Good stuff. The mantra is... Hold on a second while I look at my list of what the mantras are. Valor, Ra! Boom! And we're done here. Take a moonstone. Because at some point, I will understand what those do and what they're for. The day will come. So yeah, I don't think we want to do level ups at the Shrine of Valor. Unless... Here's a mechanic I wouldn't object to anyone telling me. Is a concentrated shrine going to be like, you get multiple points of strength because you're not getting anything else? Or is it just like, yeah, why'd you do this? You really could have gone at one of the overlapping shrines? Hey, returning to my point about min-maxing in Ultima not really being super important. But yeah, I don't think we'll do any level ups here. But let's look at the... Yeah, that seems... that's what I expected. Okay, level 5. Level 4, but Shimino's ready to level up, but we don't want to do that here. And he's the other mage, so I want to do it at a place that does intelligence. Which ones have I liberated? I really should have been taking better notes about that. Well, Valor now. In fact, I am going to start a new column in my Virtue, Rune, Mantra, Shrine table. Shrine is the new column. I'm going to add the word liberated to the ones I know I've liberated. Compassion. Sacrifice. Valor. And honor. We're halfway there. Whoa. We're halfway there. Whoa. Living on a prayer. Okay. That's enough of that. Alright. And on we go. Yes, that's the next thing. Ooh, okay. Thedev, thank you for checking that for me. Because that's a mechanic I'm willing to be spoiled on. I mean, I suppose I could also very easily use the save game system to just test it. But if that's how it works, might not be a bad idea to have Dupre do his next level up here. But Shimino, no. Shimino, we want to become ever more intelligent. And perhaps more dexterous. So that's truth and... Oh my goodness. Courage, truth. How is this happening to me? Love. So love is dex, truth is intelligence. Love and truth is... God damn it. That doesn't matter. Don't need to work this out right now. Totally bizarre. I feel bad for this one dude. Like, he's getting the no. It's gonna make a topical joke, but I don't really feel like joking about that particular contemporary topic on this day in particular. Okay, back at it. It is time to test the Orb of the Moons more. But let's test it while my ship is docked at a real place, in case I ever want to use my ship again. Once I'm master of the Moongates, if I need the ship, I can swing by Jalome if it's docked there, if that's where I left from. Because there are certainly other things to do here. We gotta go back to you and go looking under the beds in the jail for the next clue in the... Oh ho! Thank you, Thaddeus. That is terrific news. That is going to come into play directly next time Dupre levels up. Because, I mean, he's our tough guy in lieu of... Yes, here's what I would like to know. I have two questions. What do the two virtue or two principal shrines does one of them get two, one of them gets one? And the other thing I want to know is there any reason besides yourself showing the virtue of humility to level up at the Shrine of Humility? Those are the two other mechanics that I'm curious about here. Where am I? How did I lose Jalome? Anyway, things aren't going good for the Hydra. Am I by the Hydra Island? Is there more than one spot where the Hydra can appear? Yes. Okay. Well, there. Then, basically, there's a case to be made for leveling up at every shrine except humility, which makes sense to me. Okay, heading north. Heading north. How have I gotten so lost? All of a... Wait! I will use the sextant and we'll work this out. 51... Okay, yeah, I do need to go north. No, I need to go south. Egads. Alright, hold on. Whoops. Okay. 64 south, 19 west. So just south. Oh yeah, the case I should have been more explicit. The case for the two virtue shrines is purely in the interim. You know, if you want to probably gain a few levels, and maybe you want a little, stat balance across two stats. As soon as you find spirituality, it would never make sense again. Yes, but you get to rejoice in your own personal virtue when you do it that way. Okay, where am I and what have I done to get so lost? I'm not very lost at all. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't know how I did this to myself, but okay. Here it is. It's just that Jalome's on a big island, huh? Hey, someone lose an anchor? I don't remember either. I think I've gotten wiped once in this, but I'm actually not positive. Okay, so we have an anchor here. It's very heavy. I don't know, it's just there. I don't know what to do with that. I'm not gonna worry about it just yet. If somebody ever says to me, man, where did I leave that anchor? Hail, sir. Yeah, it's pier. Nothing, man. I'm sorry. I was just saying hi. Okay. Here we are. We made our way back to Jalome. Very, very soon I will either have figured out or perhaps more likely be told what the gimmick is. So now we have a Puron waning moon. Yeah, the two moons are in the same phase. Yeah, it's a real, it's ripe for exploitation despite it not really seeming necessary to use exploits to thrive in Ultima 5. Like, if anything, one of the biggest things that turns the tide in Ultima 5 is just getting the crown. Not that you don't want to keep leveling up, getting better spells, but just making it so that there's not like 3 enemies that can just obliterate you every time you meet them is perhaps the most important step. Okay, here we go. What is this going to do this time? If it just takes me to the same place, and it did. Okay, I'm ready, British, to be taught. And while I wait, I'm kind of curious where I am. So I'll just look around a little. I'm not confident at all that I'm going to find any landmarks that will help me determine where I am. But you never know. Yeah! Yeah, that makes sense. Ooh! Okay. The Shrine of Diligence is right next to some big fancy building. Some volcanoes. Oh yeah, and of course there's Cyclopses around. Oh, right. Volcanoes are weird little traps. Hello? Are you the friendly kind of gargoyle? Maybe friendly's not... Okay, so the Shrine of Diligence. Alright. The gargoyles have their own religion and their own system of virtues, of which one of them is diligence? We shall see. They have magic ball things. A light source. Is it a talking light source? Nope. Okay. This is a teleport pad if I've ever seen one. Nope, it's a heat source. And this is a mat. Can we do anything to the mat? We can't. Can we take the mat? We can't. Okay. The lesson we take is that thus far, I see no evidence to believe that the moon phases are going to affect where we come out. A secondary lesson. Is there a secondary lesson I can derive? I'm also going to toss out that I'm not really convinced that right now I am walking around in a location that I could get to by other means. So those are a few things. Another thing that should have told me I was in a whole new place was the fact that this is a brand new song. Okay, Phases of the Moon, no relevance. See, there's one thing that Ultima's constantly throwing you curveballs by, like, the world is largely, like, even more... Most things about Britannia are more persistent. What is it related to? Okay. What could it be related to? I mean, thus far I've used it twice, and in both cases I went up the same spot. And of course it asks you where you want to spawn the Moongate. In both cases I spawned the Moongate below me. And also the Moongate was red. Okay. And obviously I've heard that it matters where a Moongate, physically where a Moongate is spawned. Perhaps not in relation to where you're standing. Okay, okay. Right now I'm sidetracked. Because I'm in Gargoyle Country and I want to find out if I can learn anything while I'm here. But then we'll get back to it. I'll try both creating a Moongate in a different position relative to me and creating Moongates in specific locations, perhaps locations that are surrounded. I'll get there, I'll get there. Don't be fooled by everything about me. Why was I sent to Lysander? I'm going to think about that. But for the moment, I'm too thoroughly sidetracked. But I'm putting a pin in it. I'm going to think about why I got to the Lyceum, and we're going to mess around with the orb more. And perhaps I am going to stumble there on my own, which is prodding. Or perhaps you're going to wind up telling me. But very soon, we'll find out for sure. Oh, right. It's quite possible that the regular sized ones don't even have the power of speech. Hey, come on, man. We're just chilling here. Oh. Okay, hold on then. Hold on. Why was I sent to Lyceum? Let me look up every note I've taken pertaining to Lyceum. After amenities at the Lyceum is building model moons. That's not why we were sent there. That's the thing we know. Obviously, Zhao teaching at the Lyceum. Ballooning was learned about in a book at the Lyceum. That's all I've written down. Meanwhile, what did I learn while I was at the Lyceum? Obviously, I had Mariah look at Elo's book. And I found all these... Okay. Dude, can you not see that I'm trying to be peaceful here? You are smaller and weaker than me, and I would have killed you if I had bad intentions. Okay, so Sinvral had the opportunity to learn. He didn't teach himself agricultural techniques later in life. Hey, smart looking gargoyle. And Balsifer Deslem Kleplem. He has more to say. And he didn't flee, but he is mad. Could you? Oh, come on, dude. You fool. You're forcing me to kill you. Hooray! A brand new runic script. This little jerk. Another place. Shimino says this is the Tomb of Kings. How does Shimino know the names of these locations that are very obviously not supposed to be familiar to us? Okay. There's a giant squid. It's paralyzed. Fascinating. Oh, you jerks. Could you just... Also, the fact that dungeon entrances in the gargoyle area, in the gargoyle realm, if that's indeed where we are, go up instead of descending into the dungeon, really kind of seems like it plays into their... I'm sorry, Yellow. Oh no, Gweno's almost dead? I'm just letting my friends actually literally get stabbed to death here. Okay. Now, let's poke around some more with this Orb of the Moons. Against all odds, the Orb of the Moons, not concerned with the phases of the moon. Let me find... There's a stone circle here in Jalome, right? Let me find it. See what happens if I do a thing there. Yeah. There's a chance, like, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of me stumbling my way to this, because every single element of my of my personality and the way I present myself aside, I'm a pretty smart guy. I was pretty sure I found a stone circle here in Jalome and buried one of the moonstones. Maybe I didn't. Oh man, yeah, take a doubloon. Just one. You only asked for one. You don't gotta go all out. Alright, Heftimus. Take care. Anyone ever tell you, Heftimus, that you kind of look like an Ephraim who's fallen on hard times? Do, 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 do. Hope everyone's got their swamp boots on. Can we move this plant? No, but we can. Oh, we just step across some of the shrubbery there. Okay, so obviously it is not the case. Or perhaps it's the case. I don't think, though. I don't think I'm going to find a... Also, sure I did. I'm going to keep wandering a bit for a second here. Then I'll test the... Play with the moon orb again. Oh, here it is. Okay, so... I don't know. What if I use... Just curious. I've already got a Moongate going here. I've just added a Moongate on top of it. I don't think that's going to do anything. Still in Geelong? Am I still in Geelong? No. I'm in Co? No, I'm still in Geelong. Okay. So stacking Moongates didn't do anything. And really, yeah, does seem like an absurdly dangerous thing to do. Like, you want to be careful about a single portal before you step into it. What if I just go into this regular portal? Does it also just spit me back out? Sure does. Okay. Alright. Trying one last thing here. And then I'm going to look at the compendium for a moment to see if I just forgot to read something there, or I read something there and forgot it. Because I did read the compendium. Start to finish before I began this journey. What if I make it further away from myself? Fails. Okay. What if I just put it... Nope. Red Moongate. Okay. And presumably... the Shrine of Control. I'm not in the same spot. But okay, obviously, for one thing, the gargoyles have their own virtue-based religion. It's true, British, and a lot of that's my own fault, and some of that is the fault of our dear friend Richard Garriott for keeping so many things the same in his world from game to game, but then just being like, the Moongates work completely differently this time around. And so I'm like, the phases of the moon, like, that's how Moongates work. It just turns out it's not. Okay, but the Moongates still work the same. So, okay. Tell me if I'm grokking you here. The regular Moongates still work the same, and the Orb of the Moons is for a different purpose? That makes sense, because the Orb of Lord British was used to... The Orb of the Moons was used by Lord British in the ending of Ultima 5 to, like, not to just pop to the regular Moongates, but to, like, banish Blackthorn forever, and to get back from, like, an alternate dimension to Britannia, and to send the Avatar back to his dimension. And obviously here, the Orb of the Moons is taking us to Gargoyle Land, where they have... Okay. So I did a good thing by creating that table, but I gotta change the notes that I took there. At any rate, okay. This is, as far as just like getting a sense of what kind of things do we have to do in this game in the fullness of time? We gotta learn more about the gargoyles, which I mean, I figured, but like, step one is that, okay, yes, I think that this game is going to turn out to be the false prophet because the gargoyles are being misled by a false prophet. They've got their own religion that is also based around virtues, but it's not the same virtues. They have the Shrine of Diligence, they have the Shrine of Control. You know, they're a more like authoritarian take on the virtues, but not in Blackthorn's warped way. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting. Okay. Whoops. Restore. Let's go back to the realm of the regular folks. Separately, I don't know what I did differently, except maybe literally the positioning of the Red Moongate that took me once to the Shrine of Diligence and once to the Shrine of Control. I do have some questions for Shimino about why he's not just breaking a lot more of this down for us if he already knows. But I mean, he's probably just like Elo. Back when Elo knew exactly where Smith was, but was like, you should do this fetch quest on your own. It's about the journey, my friend. Okay, well, let's take a note here. Moongate. Blue Gate. And then we have, of course, there's 2 freaking moons. I'm gonna do that thing I said where I look in the compendium for a second here. Alright, getting around in Britannia, page 18. I don't know that that's going to tell me what the Moongates. Just skim in here very quickly. Hang tight, folks. Okay. There. See that? This comes back to I should have paid more attention to Lord British at the start instead of being like, I never used the Moongates. Shut up, old man. Stop. Tell me how to get a ship. A good old-fashioned way of getting around. Get around to Britannia. Now, getting around in Britannia gently nudges me towards the balloon, but I don't even need a gentle nudge. I nudged myself in that direction, and I understand that I need a balloon. The whole confusing gargoyle, where Sinvral was talking, you gotta go up, and we came down from the, you need to fly to the, interesting. Okay, well, I do want to just have exactly 1 moon displayed right now, and then see what this Blue Gate does. Make a note of that. And then, let's find out what happens when I use the orb of the moons right above it. Okay, so with a purely waning moon, second moon, that's another thing. Who knows? But alright. I'm going to delete that all together. Cut that from there and paste it here. And then let's jump in. See what happens. Nothing. Which is okay, because nothing happened, then maybe, well, I'll have to verify this later. Maybe that's just how you get to Geelong. Okay. Well, let's find out. Let's find out what happens. Now that I've got a little bit of a sense of what's going on. the littlest bit of the slightest sense of what's going on. Let's go 1 square north. And let's see what happens when we hop in. Choo, 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 choo. Holy smokes. So obviously, long ago, the last time the Avatar was here, when we wound up trapped in that little kind of pocket dimension with Lord British, and he was like, "You got my box?" Yes. By pure coincidence, yes, I'm carrying this friggin' box around. And he was like, "Alright, let me just tap on it." So then he took out the Orb of the Moons. He then turned to face north and cast a portal 1 step ahead of him. And then said, "Let's go." And we were, boom, right back in his throne room. Sweet. And then, hold on. Do I know where the circle stones are here in Britain? Have I found them? If I have, if I have a moonstone I could put there. If I can get there, which I probably can't on account of the clumsiness of exploring. Oh, leave me alone, my good man. If I could find them, we could hop in that Moongate and see if it pops us out in Geelong. I am also pretty sure that I remember that also being part of my initial travelings here around Britain and over to Cove to do the thingy ding. But, okay, so that's outside the town limits, and most of these have been within the town limits. I could try all the, if it's a 5x5 grid, I could try them all with the Orb of the Moons and see if I, could I get spat out next to a chiller gargoyle who's willing to explain their religion to me? Probably not. Probably there's an intermediary step before we can achieve dialogue with the gargoyles. I'm pleased to know that, you know, okay, yeah, there we go. And again, stand view window. Ah, well. Okay, so eastward and the town limp. No, wait. Oh, no. Okay, we got here. I got moonstones to spare. Wait a minute. The moonstones themselves have moon phases. Oh no. I'm really sad to learn that. Bury the moonstone. Oh no. And also you always bury the moonstone right where you're standing. Ah, whatever. Let's see what happens. I really was, wasn't I? Okay, that did nothing. It spat me right back out here. Okay. Take us home, Moongate. I'm going to get over there. I'm going to bury it in the right spot. It's probably not going to make any difference. I'm also going to bury the other one. Don't know if that'll make any difference. Goodbye, my good man. Hello, I must be going. Why do you gotta lie to me every time I see you, pal? We'd have a much better friendship. You just told me what your name is and we talked like two folks. You don't need to impress me by pretending to be the king. especially because I know you're not the king. And you know, I've been learning all the time about how important the regular folk of Britannia are to maintaining this kingdom. It's not all about Lord British. Off the beaten path a little. Circle of stones. Okay, get some sleep, British. And we'll get the... Perhaps I'll get the full explanation from you. I don't even remember which... Oh dear. Let's save. No, let's not. Alright. Who cares? I'll bury this one. We'll see what happens. It's buried in the right spot. Assuming the spot is important. I leap into it. And I travel to nowhere. Yeah. Can't get the moonstone because it's covered in Moongate. Fine. Okay. Let's put a pin in that. I'll explore that more later. Because what I want to do right now is something. What specifically do I want to do though? There's lots to do. Which runes don't I have? Spirituality and honesty. Honesty just obliges me to go to Moonglow, poke around. So that's one option. At the same time, spirituality. I actually know where the Rune of Spirituality is. I just don't know why it is where it is, and I would love it if I could get there without sequence breaking. But if I go to you, I've got some digging to do because I could. There's something under those beds. If I go to Moonglow, I can also look for the Rune of Honesty. Let's go to Moonglow. No, let's go to the other one. The other one that I just said. Let's go to you. Alright, liberating my cursor so I can bring the map up. Although, I know the way. It's sailing north. I'm going to stop in Scarabray. I don't remember I don't think there was a spell teacher there, but if there is, I would love for someone to teach me the magic unlock spell. Maybe. Did anyone... There was an alchemist. Ask above a dove. What does that mean? That's the big clue that I'm unable to get past. Marnie. Okay. We're heading north up the coast, at any rate. That's the next step. So here we go. Should also play around with the Orb of the Moons more, I suppose. In fact, I ought to go to my info sheet right now and start a gargoyle religion chart. I at least know two of the virtues, control and diligence. Who knows what we'll need to learn about this. Seems like the kind of thing that could wind up putting me on a holy quest. Maybe they let me, the gargoyles, the statue gargoyles will let me visit the old codex again. At some point. It would be really strange. I mean, I guess, commitment to world building. It would make sense that even if the codex wasn't involved in the story, they would still have it there. But, law of economy of characters and whatnot suggests that we're going to get a holy quest at some point. Be really surprising to me if the game just ended as soon as you've liberated all 8 shrines. It's like, great, problem solved. We've repulsed the gargoyle invasion. Peace has returned to our land. And Balsifer. Yeah, which definitely means something. I can say that for sure. I'm not ready to go any further than that. But I got a real strong feeling that it means something. Okay, so this, I believe I've returned to Scarabray. Yep. So let's go say hello. Poke around. Like, I don't think the alchemist is going to teach me spells, but if they do, I'll be grateful. If anyone here can teach me spells, I'll be grateful. If they can't, so be it. I didn't even loot that one gargoyle I killed. Nah, whatever. There's just one regular gargoyle. Still a very strange landing party to be there trying to protect the shrine they had captured. Here we are. I'm allowed to borrow that skiff. I mean, I could use the skiff just to sail in a bit and see what I find. Lots of things we could do. I mean, that's one of yeah. Rune of Spirituality, right there. I can just get it when she's asleep. Yes. And I forgot and have now reminded myself that when I keep running, next time I run into some travelers, I got to ask them about that other book in addition to asking if they know anything generally about rumors. Hey, Marnie. Yeah, you recognized me from before. Okay. We might as well stick around in the night and make one more go at chatting with Daddy. Yeah, so there's the mayor, a real jerk, Lord Mayor. Here's the healer. She's not going to teach me any spells. Here's the inn. Real chatty innkeeper there. Real nice folk. I'm a fan of him. Unless I find out he's involved in this murder, but I don't think I will. I think for some reason it might be the daughter, but I don't know why. The only reason I think it might be, besides just like it seems like an obvious twist, is that she's got the rune. But I have not learned enough yet to infer why it might be that. Okay, we can't actually. We can see the ghost in the daytime. Huh? Will he talk to us? Is it just that he doesn't do anything? Cool breeze blows through your hair. Okay, breeze. Marnie means breeze. Scent of a storm approaching. What about a storm? No answer save the rustle of leaves on the ground around me. Okay, let me review. What hints have I found about this mystery? Fish with glowhorn only comes to surface when the sea is like a mirror. Horns lives on the isle. Rounding is past where the alchemist lives. Meredith Ann went to her death in a storm. Which might have been Mondane's doing. Quentin was killed. The ghost may know his killer. They can't speak directly. Yeah. Quentin had the rune. Gideon spoke to the travelers. Horns knows of the shrine. Yeah. And Horns told me to ask Quentin about a traitor, ask him about a love, and if I am creative, ask about a dove. So, why don't I ask him about all the other people that I know in this town? Nothing. Tazana the healer? Nothing. Gideon the innkeeper? Nothing. Marta, the innkeeper's wife? That would be a strange twist. What about Yorl, your buddy? Nothing. But Marnie puts a cool breeze through my hair. Very good. Stevius, the winemaker? Nothing. Horns? Nothing. Zog the wisp? Nothing. Okay. Love? Nothing. Traitor? Nothing. The rune? The shrine? Doves? The sky? A storm? You're killing me, ghost. Ask above a dove. That's the thing that's killing me. If you're creative, ask above a dove. But I just don't know what that means. We'll try him again when it's dark. Maybe he does give more information when it's dark. Should interrogate Marnie again. You do recognize me. What's your name? So your name is Marnie. Poem your mother wrote to him. First we met and dark clouds gathered, the thunder sounding your approach. Then comes the storm of our hearts pounding, and in the end the Marnie's touch. So your mother. No. It's a poem? She's only read the first verse of the poem. Okay, oh my goodness. Second reads, if I should leave and you are lonely, remember where my love is kept. Inside a basket made of promise, you'll find my dreams of us have slept. What's this basket? It's in your hope chest. Feel free to look for yourself. Okay. And then we just find the Rune of Spirituality, so that doesn't solve the murder mystery, but fine. Marnie. Okay. Arg. I'm not a criminal, so very well. I'm gonna sail up the coast again. I accidentally cast away my honor. Although I've solved the mystery of how to get the rune without coming anywhere close to solving the murder mystery. And it's no longer a sequence-breaking solution. And I actually kind of want to save scum so I can steal the book and look at it and see if that reveals anything. But okay. Chugging north. Oh, and when I get to Scarbray, I will use the sextant and I will note the coordinates for future navigation. If indeed I am still navigating over land, or by sea. By any method of navigation that is not the Moongates, which, if they are still governed by the phase of the moon, are in many ways irritating to me. And the more so if I've been supposed to be placing those moonstones while paying attention to which moon phase they show. I don't know. Where am I? Let's take a look at the map. And here we are. Okay. That doesn't take too long. Because of the missing comma in Marnie's exclamation, she's not telling the thief to stop. She's issuing a command to someone else. Stop thief! Somebody, stop thief! And nobody came to help her. Presumably because, what's his name here? Yorl. He's busy. Hey, Yorl. Yeah. I'll shake your fish gut's hand. Do you know something about a storm? Remind me. Yeah, as Mondane's doing. Storm. That's how you lost your father. What do you mean scuttled? Okay, he doesn't want to tell me the story of Mondane. Technically, the Avatar himself knows the story. I only know it in little bits. So I haven't actually played. I've dabbled very, very briefly in Ultima 1. Okay, let's do this the traditional way. Yeah, what about your mother? No, storm. Yeah, stop the... it's very caveman grammar. Stop thief. Someone stop thief. No, it's not the storm. It's... well, just cut to the chase. Show me your poem. And where's your basket, dear? In the hope chest. Feels like you should say, you have a thing in your hope chest. Feel free to look for yourself. Don't touch my diary. But hey. Okay. So be it. Open. We just saved, because we are going to steal the book. I'm going to look at it, and we're going to load. A basket. Is there anything special about the basket, I wonder? Probably not, but there could be. Nope, just a 0.4 stone basket. Am I really a thief, Marnie? And you gave me permission? The Book of Spirituality. Oh yeah, right. I looked at this. Oh yes, I probably can. Through life, spirituality, some of the virtues. Yeah, I actually read this book when I accidentally found the thing and was like, I don't think I've found this the honest way yet. Okay. You don't ever look in your own hope chest? Alright. Well, this was... The mystery remains, and perhaps I'll solve it in the fullness of time, but the mystery of the Rune of Spirituality is just not all that mysterious. It's just there, and you just find it in the course of investigating fitfully the murder of her father. Yeah, why did I take... why am I carrying a basket? There's only one basket I need, and it's much bigger than this. It's going to weigh more than 0.4 stones. Catch you later, basket. Catch you never. Okay. Let me just... say... found! We got it. It's all coming together. Okay. I should find the alchemist. Oh, who of course... on a different island, but I'm allowed to borrow this skiff. Take it up here. Hey, Horns. You unusual dude. I didn't come to see if you were relenting in your mystery, Horns. I was very confident you would still be a mysterious guy. Do you do spells? You do. I wish to study in... Oh, Horns. You're just using the generic spell teacher dialogue? No poem? Oh, here's the compendium page on cosmology. Has all sorts of stuff about the... including reminding me which one counts as waxing, which one counts as waning. Great. But anyway. What I actually wanted to look at was just the spells. Scrolling down. That's this. 8 circles of magic. Here we go. Unlock magic. Is it's merely the second circle. Do you know it, Horns? You sure do. My man. My man. And Magic Arrow, which could be useful. I am interested. None of them right now. Hang tight. That's true, Horns, but you could refer to us in the second person while we're still standing here in front of you. Instead of saying the poem to no one, you could involve us in the conversation. Boom. Got a new spell? No. I don't think I have Magic Arrow. No, I don't. And it could not hurt to have. So, let's have that. What's my gold situation like? Personally down to 194. Now let's take stock overall. Hey, buddy. Thanks for that. For your service. Okay. Let's do this. Let's get Magic Arrow. Who knows? Might be like most spells. I'll barely end up using it. Maybe also incapable of harming the gargoyles that I can't yet harm. Or maybe magic will do the trick. I do know that one gargoyle that I've never landed a hit on did kill himself by blowing up his fireball spell on us while we were standing next to him. So perhaps they are vulnerable to magic. Yeah, teach me some spells, my beautiful friend. You're not actually that beautiful. You're beautiful in your own way, Horns. You have a beautiful mind. Yeah, how about this Magic Arrow? 60 gold? I'll take it. Now I don't wish to study. I know that obviously I could just have James, the Avatar, not myself. Well, he's my Avatar too. I could just have him buy the 2 parchments and just give one to Shimino. Feels like in the spirit of what we're doing here. Oh, I should just give Shimino the money he needs. And have Shimino be formally the one who also learns Magic Arrow right now. Oops. Sorry, Horns. I forgot to say anything and you interpreted my blank staring. This time around, Shimino would actually like to learn a second circle spell, and specifically, let's learn Magic Arrow. He's also interested. And now we're done. Thank you, Horns. Yeah. It never gets old, buddy. Speaking in rhyme. Nobody ever stops finding that charming. So. Now Shimino's got Magic Arrow and Heal, but of course he doesn't have any reagents. So, I might as well take care of that too, whilst I'm here. What does it take? Well, I'm looking at it. Heal takes Ginseng and Spider Silk. I don't need to look that up. And Magic Arrow, Sulphurous Ash, and Black Pearl. So we need a variety of reagents for our boy. Let's do it. The Avatar will make this purchase and hand it along. I'm going to take first some Spider Silk, 1 proportion. Well, that's easy. Take 10. And then, oh, come on, man. We'll have to go somewhere else for our ginseng. Sulphurous Ash, 2 proportion. Still going to take 10. Thanks, buddy. And then I said Black Pearl. Black Pearl, 3 proportion. Give me 10. I don't need those. Bye. Yes, you do see that we're going. Just put that on you can put that, just write that down, stick it to the inside of the door. Spare your voice. Okay, so hey Shimino. You like black pearls? Reagent management, just infinitely clumsier in this game than in Ultima 5. There we go. Does Shimino have a bag? Got a poach there, buddy? Wait, Dupre, are you using your poach for anything? 12 lumps of gold. Shimino's got all this useless gear that maybe we can sell next time we're in Britain. Oh, whatever. For now, the day I've been talking about since literally day one of this stream, of this particular Let's Play, the day when I'm going to be able to sit down for like 30 minutes not on the air and just organize the inventory a little bit, that day is coming. It's very, like, this semester is wrapping up. I'm just curious what's down here. I might as well save. Actually, I'm more than a little paranoid about saving on a boat, just because every glitch that I've ever encountered has in some way involved the game thinking I was on a boat. I'm just curious where this little tributary goes. Quite possibly nowhere. Like, I'm not gonna fall on the secret entrance to the underworld anymore, because the underworld is sealed. Yeah. It's always fun to poke around. I suppose another thing, this is a wild tangent, not that wild, it's still an Ultima related comment, but saying earlier about how you can make a remastered version of this game where all you changed was the view window and people would be like, I'm seeing Ultima 6 with all new eyes. I think one other thing I would advocate for in a, and maybe later I'll learn more about the gargoyles and it'll turn out this wouldn't make sense, but maybe more variation in the tile set when you're in the gargoyle world. I can see why that's not. I can see much more. I can see why both those things are not done. Wider view window. Entirely new tile set for the gargoyle world. They're both memory constraints for the time. Different forms of memory, I think, but memory indeed. But sure would be great to have. Here we are, back home. Get on our ship, and alright, so obviously I should go up and look at the moon phase cosmology chart for a second, because alright, right now we've got crescent waxing, so yes. Okay, Moonstone. These are travels to. Oh, there it is. Okay. I understand the Moonstones now because it's just written in the manual. But I've created a problem, which is that I've buried a bunch of the Moonstones, but I don't know which ones and where. And I'm the one in control of where the Moonstones are going. It's no longer the phase of the moon relates specifically to the town and its Moongate. It is now. Maybe it never did. Maybe it was always just about the Moonstones. But, okay. Nothing to be done for that, but to fix it as I go. Every time I stop in a town now... Oh, look at the sextant. Every time I stop in a town now, I gotta figure out if I buried a moonstone there, dig it up, note which one it is, put it back in the ground. And we will get us a travel network. So, Scarbray. Oh, oops. Look at the sextant. I'm looking at the sextant as part of how you use it. Alright. Scarbray is 16 west. No, 16 south. 30 west. Very good. Another navigational aid for the team. We can, of course, just a magic unlock spell opens up some doors here. Pun not intended, but that probably should have occurred to me and been a deliberate pun. So... Man. Real criminals versus mongbats, like, just full-on social breakdown in this particular portion of Britannia. Not getting involved. They gotta sort their own differences out. I got my own quest here, team. I'm sorry. You're on your own with each other and your inability to get along. It's just not my problem. So I should go back, among other things, to the Cyclops family, because now I can explore much more of the basement of the Shadow Lord's old haunt and find some of the cool stuff that I was told was in there by Child. What's the kid's name? I remind myself. Miles. But obviously too, like, I don't know what to do in the gargoyle shrines yet. So it's not necessarily the case that I want to go right back into there just yet. Following the coastline, sailing in the dark, which is not necessarily wise policy. And also, we've been up for a long time. It's been a long day. We should get some rest. So let's see if this will work. See if we can rest here without being, mauled by something or robbed by gremlins or any of the many horrible things. Not while foes are near. Well, okay. If we have foes near, I guess that gives us a whole other thing to deal with. Set down this, pick up the magic shield. Jamino, you're gonna have to fight without a shield. Need some torchlight. Need to get more torches soon. Need to get more money. Finding these foes might help with that. If the foes are the money-carrying kind of foes. Which they may or may not be. Here's something to the east. Oh, it's the foes we can't sleep near foes at sea. It's looking like a real possibility. What if I head in here? Can we rest here? No. And yet the foes are not presenting themselves. Yeah. Back to the save. Screw this place. Take it back to the seas. Yeah, let's try here. Maybe we can get some sleep here. It's a possibility. I think we want to sleep as... whatever. 9 hours. The Avatar himself will keep guard. Jana breaks out the rolls. Boom, 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 biddy doom, biddy doom, biddy doo, boo, boo, doo, boo. Hit the map up so I can. I don't know. It's not that important as a navigational aid. It's not useless, but it's not necessarily super crucial on account of. In this direction, there's really no path to take except following the coast. At least maybe I can get a sense of where I'd like to get off the ship. Okay, are we now circumnavigating to the north of the continent? I think we are. Which would mean this should be to the north of you, if I'm reading the map correctly. Oh, or okay. That's straightforward. We're at you. Or we're at the Empath Abbey. I'm not sure. At any rate, this fellow's sleeping. I should walk around. I'll figure out where I am. A bridge. That's not you. I don't know. No, Empath Abbey. Empath Abbey is where we are right now. Nothing to do right now, right here. I do need to look for that enchanter in the woods at some point. But I think right now, what I would most like to do next is return first to you to look under the beds in jail, keep that clue train rolling, and then I would like to head back to Minnock and return to the former Keep of the Shadow Lords, catch up with the Cyclops family, and explore their basement a little more thoroughly. And that's probably all I got. Oh, dude, don't have time for this nonsense. Can't win this fight. You don't want the smoke. The end. Better luck next time. So, Shrine of Justice, very nearby. Probably. When I see the Shrine of Justice, that's when I'll know that I'm in the vicinity of you, obviously. So much of this points where it's just a tiny little landmass next to the main landmass. Main land mass needs to be circumnavigated. Yes, and yet, until you said that just now, it did not cross my mind how obviously easy it would be to operationalize that knowledge. And I think there's a free skiff near you, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's not traditional ship docking practice, but let's just leave it right here. Head into you. I think this is heading into you, or is it leaving you? Or is it neither? It's just a case of a completely different use of that little sort of watery crossing that I'm used to. Okay, fine. Be that way. Oh my goodness. Getting around the northern capes. There's a lot of northward sailing. Go figure. Okay. Okay. So, reading the map correctly. Yeah, we're going to you, but we're taking a real trip to get. Oh, I see what I'm looking for. Okay, so if I have any idea where I am, which I don't necessarily, we should see the Shrine of Justice soon. Where is this? Here's a road. Take me into you. Please. Ah. Think I know where I am now. Yep. Okay. Thank goodness. Been a real trip, but unless I've lost my mind completely, we should never rule that out. Leonard, and Leonard is a Yuian? Sure is. Sweet. Okay, we gotta search the beds, and we might as well, see if Ultima wants to buy any of the junk Shimino is carrying. Good to see you, Leonard, but I was really just popping by to say, who are you? Anyone ever tell you you look like a recently deceased performer from the world that I come from? His mother named him Martin. Yeah, fortunately, I know that I parked just north of the juncture of the road. That's a three-way juncture that goes to you in the south and can also lead to the Shrine, Justice, and that'll get it done in that regard. Okay. I want to poke around a bit. I think the Travelers have moved on. This is the last place I encountered the King of the Travelers. Tracking them down to get their input on the question of... I'm going to need another permission slip, aren't I? Always a pleasure to talk to you, Lenora. I have this letter. Yes, I did. I will. Does the key work for every cell? Is the question. Because this empty cell seems like a good candidate for being the one I'm supposed to look under the bed in. Much more viable, much more optimistic here than if I were to say, no effect. Are there any beds that we can get to by non-nefarious means here? Okay. Okay. Wait, are these empty ones just unlocked? No, they're not. Well, there's always this. Hey, Shimino. Got a job for you, buddy, and you gotta do it quietly. No effect. Didn't break. They had no effect. Okay, fine. Not yet. I will. You won't talk to me. I'll give him back the key. I mean, the key's not doing it for me, so that's alright. I'll give him back the key. Yes, here's the key. Now, Mr. Test turned jailer. He's not going to let me look under the beds. Okay, we're not out of options. I don't think this is going to do it, but maybe it will. Let's... I think unlock magic is only going to work on magically locked doors. And indeed it is. I'm not going to waste those reagents on trial and error. Okay, look under the beds in the jail. But how? Wait. Are you willing to look? Excuse me. Criminal. Nope. Excuse me, sir. Nope. Can't search the bed unless you're in there. Is by any chance this door unlocked? No. This one's locked. Can you look under your bed for me? No. I don't know what to tell you, man. She does not believe you have kids. She's not moved by your plight. Okay. Okay. What spells do I have? Telekinesis, but not teleport. Alright. Looking at the manual for a second here. Just remind myself, what are the spells? And what circles do they emerge from? Here we are. Douse. This thing, that thing. Whatever. Hooah. Poison repair and telekinesis. I mean, I could try telekinesis. It can't hurt. Find out how it works. Or it doesn't, as it were. Magic log isn't going to do the trick. What about teleport? Teleport is... If there is a spell just called teleport, and there does not appear to be... Oh, is it because it's called blink? No. Okay. Well, I mean, here we are. Let's see if telekinesis is going to help us out here. No, it's not. Chumbawampa! Hey, buddy! How have you been? I've noticed this is not the time of the year when I'm like doing anything about fire except firing this up and looking. But I see that you're streaming in the always on category lately, which I know nothing about. Right now we've been on hiatus, also related to this time of year. Moved and then and it's the end of term. So Greg and I are hoping to start streaming again this coming Thursday. We'll see how that works out. And it might still be wrestling, but we've been talking about some other ideas because we have, I wouldn't say that we've attracted a ton of interest in the very long time that we've spent doing wrestling streams. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we're not wasting ammunition on trolls. So Elo's gonna have to sit this one out. Yeah, so I mean, I get one sense of what the always on category must entail, but what are you actually doing lately during your streams? Forgive me if that's a thing that's actually supposed to be obvious. And I'm just out of touch. Grazed, come on. Alright, now we'll use some ammo. Oh, okay. I know that you were doing the Twilight Zone watch-alongs. Aha. So the name of the category doesn't necessarily speak to the actual content, to some degree, it's a feint. Many throwing axes. How about some useful stuff? Well, we gotta do it. Search the chest for traps, buddy. Meat. Well, get that meat, Shimino. Get the chest out of the way. More leather armor. Interesting. So when you're... How much can Shimino carry? That's all he can carry. Let me see. I want to give the 17 arrows here to Elo. And this should be Elo. It is. Excellent. And then drop control. Who in the party has any capacity? Gweno. Sorry, Gweno. You are on axe carrying duty. We're going to go hawk all of these to our buddy Ultima. Oh, gross. Sorry, Gweno. Didn't mean to make you touch the guts. Put that back where you found it. Suppose we could throw it into the river, give him burial at sea. So, I don't know. What's some of your what kind of content have you been showing lately? Can we make it to Otomo's place before he's done for the day? Yes. Speaking of guts, so Wamba, you're not just airing the content. There's a value add here. I have not. Perhaps I should. Okay, obviously Otomo is going to be asleep, presumably dreaming of his loved one, who he hasn't seen in a while. And we took some hits. Let's go sleep in the dirt like true heroes. You're the guard to pray. And we're up. Bummer. What games have you been playing? Last time I stumbled on caught you live. It was like a kind of Soviet-themed competitive platformer, battle royale type thing. Maybe battle royale is not the right word, but oh dear, it takes so long for the sun to come up. We've been awakened, interrupted in our sleep. Yeah, Soviet jump game, Realm Royale. Okay, so you are doing battle royale right now. My own battle royale experience primarily are the ones that Nintendo puts out on the Switch service, like a Tetris 99, to a much lesser extent, Pac-Man 99, to an even yet lesser still extent. No, not lesser still. Mario 35 I played a ton before they took it away. Huh, cool. I will say, besides the fact that just, I am not a young man. And so I'm not at all, nothing about the Fortnite experience speaks to me, and none of my peers play it or anything. Well, I mean, none of my peers that, I know or anything. But also, even if I was going to try to see what the youth are into, the aesthetic of Fortnite would really put me off. I don't like it. So I see the appeal. Did Otomo just head out for breakfast, or did he just show up to work? Oh, good. Utomo! Hombogosano! Yeah, I don't like the look. I really don't like the thing where they take people's dances and then give them to their as pardon me, emotes, and like don't even say like, you know, thank you, Alfonso Ribeiro, for coming up with this dance. Or Donald Faison, or probably they've stolen some dances from people who aren't African Americans, but the fact that all the ones I can think of are stolen from African Americans is problematic in its own right. My man, do you want to buy some junk? Cool. Well, Realm Royale. Never think about that. Maybe look into it. Okay, great. Utomo is eager to buy our junk. We're going to be making money. Oh, cool. What? WrestleMania by any chance? Oh, classic. Well, is WrestleMania 22 a classic? I have no idea. I could probably recount the WrestleManias up to like 13, and then maybe some of the recent ones, and then I just have huge gaps. Ah, I see. Halloween Havoc 98 is the one with the legendary Eddie Ray match, if I'm thinking correctly. Or is that 97? Now I need my swamp boots, Utomo. I would also like to sell... Gweno is laden down with junk. I think she's actually equipped with the leather armor, so I'm going to be careful here and not sell any of her leather armor just yet. Home to Yaf. Oh no, the leather armor and the leather boots she could also sell. I don't think he wants to buy the leather boots, but he'll buy the leather armor. And we got no reason to keep it. Yeah, Omokosano, my friend. I would like to sell Gweno's leather armor. It's a fair price. None of those. Really does seem like a little quality of life improvement that was well within their grasp, is to not have the merchants even offer to buy the stuff right off you, so that you're not like accidentally... If that Ray Eddie match is on Halloween Havoc 98, and I think it might be, that's quite a match. That's a good match. Okay, you save. We have the avatar talk to Elo for a second and find out how much money we're dragging now. And the party is currently not actually doing that. Well, whatever. We've made up most of the money that we've spent on different things, because we did make some purchases today. Okay. Save. And now... we couldn't search on it. I've got some figuring to do before I understand how to search under the beds in the jail. Do I gotta get myself thrown in jail somehow? I don't know. That's not what I want to do right now. Right now, I want to go up and see if my magic spells and my general improvement in power... Oh. Or we just want to keep the economy churning here. Kill more trolls, take their stuff. Don't waste Elo's armor, because these guys are not really meeting us with overwhelming force here. Heavily wounded. Yeah, save your armor, Elo. Boom. Critical. Still critical. Arg. Well, finish him off, Gweno. Boom. Ouch. Boomerang right to the back of the brain. And they're all dead. Alright, Shimino. What can we find here? Oh, go figure. Alright, we're going to have Gweno be the official dragger around of this junk since she's the least laden down. At least as much of it as she can carry. Goodness gracious. Oh, and straight up money. Just grab that, Shimino. Open the chest. Oh dear. That's fine. I mean, it's not great. But we'll go to the healer. But a lot more money. We can use that to pay the healer. Man. This guy's like doomsday preppers in the sense that these trolls in the sense that like they've got this huge arsenal. I was like, well, what's that going to do for you? You can't throw that many throwing axes all at once. And then you've got all these backup spears. I don't see this working out for you, pal. And indeed it did not. Shame about that gas trap, but it's okay. We'll deal with it. Alright, take as much as you can carry, Gweno. Except the corpse. And we'll let Elo just pick up the bows directly. Okay. She's laden down. Elo. Yeah, take the bow. We'll sell that later. Okay, Elo's laden down. Okay, who could pick up anything? Not the avatar. Oh, that's Elo. Oops. Back to party mode. Oh, Shimino's got plenty of room. Big shammy sham. He's not letting the poison get him down. Well, poison is slowly killing him. But very slowly. We'll make it to the healer. Or if there turns out to be no healer in you, which could very well... Okay, goodness gracious. So much stuff. Is there a healer in you? If there is, I didn't write them down. That's a shame. Not promising, but let's get in there. Oh, you know what? What am I doing? What am I doing? Made so much money. I can cast the Dispel magic spell 3 times here. On myself. And Juxort, baby. And again. Success. And one more time. And at the very least, if we're going to be reckless about opening chests, we could, and it wouldn't be a bad idea, at least have the rest of the party stand back. Right, here we are. Okay. Selling more junk. Hopefully not running into trolls and repeating the cycle again on our way back through. But let's go see Otomo, our favorite blacksmith. Omogosano, my man. Hope you're not missing your fine lady back home too bad. We'll see her again someday, I'm sure. If this is the case, the Avatar could really help out here with the Orb of the Moons if he understood better exactly how it works. Alright, we got junk to sell. You want some junk? No. I like the swamp boots, Utoma. You did a very good job on them. I bought these from you, if you remember. On du Yath, my friend. On du Yath, indeed. Okay. Find out how we're doing now. Hello? Yep. My old friend. My old gatherer of gold. There we go. I suppose if you want to farm gold, this honestly, like, this might be the place in the game to do it. At least of all places I've discovered so far, the most, like, picking up junk to having a quick offload point for it, it's all about this troll bridge. North of you. High encounter rate. Won't be surprised. There are more of them, as I was just saying. Let's use a little ammunition. I mean, ultimately we've greatly restocked Elo's ammunition. Oh, come on. We gotta break the cycle though, so we're not actually gonna loot these. Oh! We'll take their money if they got money, but... There we go. Oh, grazed, but at least it was the troll and not the avatar being grazed. Team, can we hit a bit harder here? This is not a practice fight. Okay. Yeah. Alright. I don't think I'm making it back to the Cyclops Tower today. So I'm going to test whether I'm any more prepared to liberate the Shrine of Justice. And we'll mess around maybe a little bit more. Max players, I'll tell you the same thing I tell everyone who comes here selling followers. Give me some free ones to prove that you got them, and we can talk about it. My follower count goes up by 100. I'll take the space out of there, and I'll come over to mystream.store. But in truth, Max players, a robot who is almost certainly not even here anymore, it's not how I like to get my followers. I like to provide quality content and entice them to keep coming back. Come on. This guy's going to the last. Routing the fleeing enemies never feels like the most heroic thing to do, but you gotta get those experience points. There. Good work, Elo. Okay. We'll search them, not to take all their junk, because I suppose technically their junk will just remain there forever. But to see it, okay, if there's actually, like, good stuff here. There is. Okay. Shimino, get those coins. Throw in a save. I've never actually tested this theory. It seems actually quite plausible. That I'll don't know how to search for traps, but key broke. Key broke. Alright, whatever. We'll search for traps the old-fashioned way. By triggering them. Poison! And yet, it was worth opening fine. Egad. Back to the avatar. Spell magic once more. Why did I do that now occurs to me I could very well wind up poisoning Shimino more before we're done here. Ring mail. Leather armor. We'll leave that for Elo to pick up. Not getting involved. Okay. I think, is that Gweno? No, there's Gweno. Elo. Get those arrows. Forget about the bow, though. Okay. Shimino. Search this one more body. Big pile of axes, yet again. Just take the money. We'll worry about the rest of this some other time, or perhaps never. Let's go, team. See what we can do, if anything, to liberate the Shrine of Justice. Should be looking at the map over here. Just to remind myself, what do I gotta do? I gotta... Oh yeah, we gotta go up, we gotta cross the water, which I guess we already did because that was the bridge. Comes to the fort, and north will take us to the shrine. Was not at all necessary to save again, but now we're real secure. So at this shrine, I've always been able to fight to land hits on the normals, but not the mighties, not the big boys. So let's see what we can do this time, if anything. We certainly didn't start this fight with a great deal of separation between us and the enemies. We haven't landed a hit yet. Okay, we can land hits on the normals, so it's just bad luck that had us not landing any hits. These gargoyles just seem like I suppose it could just be really bad luck. It really seems like these gargoyles have like a higher AC. Okay, well, the other thing we can try, heavily wounded. Yeah, see, we can harm the little guys to some degree. Okay. Might as well try a magic arrow. Or even poison. Failed. Okay. Shimino, get that spell book. Will this also fail? No. Lightly wounded. Magic could do the trick here. That's good to know. But otherwise, hitting is not the way. So, we'll focus our physical violence on the little guys. Now let's try poison. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to do much, but let's gang up on this one guy now that he's poisoned. Well, he's lightly wounded, and I mean, this is the how's the team doing? We're holding up. Like, the trick them into friendly fire strategy is one way that we might be able to do this. Gargoyle interferes. Of course he does. I think also from how very long it takes to beat down the little guys. I say that and I kill one, of course. That these could just be tougher. That failed, but... Okay, Elo's paralyzed. That's not great. Janna, take a step back. Shimino. Nope. Oh, I should have had Shimino cast the spell. For the same reason I've been saying. Oops. Okay. Pray though. Can you... Out of range. Can't see to pray. Alright. Yellow's not doing great. Failed. Failed. That's a shame. Yellow's not doing well at all. We gotta help him soon. Where are you, Dupre? There he is. Oops, sorry, Janna. Wasted your turn. No, stop paralyzing Elo. Be fools and set off your explosion attack. Keep on keeping on. Failed. Really interesting how much harder it is to save the Shrine of Justice than any of the other shrines. Although, there we go. The strategy works. We might toss, maybe the Avatar should toss a heal to trusty Elo. Shimino can't, so we'll keep trying. Not enough magic points. Okay, well, there's no strategy left except the encircle this guy and hope that he sets off his own demise. Does the Avatar have enough magic points to cast heal? Yes. On Elo. Didn't do a ton, but it did something. Now the critically injured gargoyle. Alright, Shimino. What's the plan now? Okay, Elo's got to do some running. That's what he's got to do. The Avatar should be casting more magic arrows. Elo can't run because he's paralyzed. Boy, Janna, if you hadn't forgotten how to be a druid, you could really be more helpful here. Failed. Okay. Nails the Avatar. At least the big guy is suddenly just landing grazing blows. If he's out of magic points, though, that's inconvenient for our purposes of hoping that he kills himself. Should I poison the guy again? I don't think so. And yet, what am I accomplishing? Magic arrows here. Don't seem like much. Okay, get up in his face. Ah! He goes and uses the non-explodey magic. Oh, whatever. Try poison again. I don't know. Heavily wounded this one. Critical. Just like Elo. Another one down. Really, the whole strategy, the whole plan here now is just to hope that the big guy kills himself or dies of poison. Okay. Because, yeah, our attacks are never going to hit this guy. And he's paralyzing Elo again. Really doesn't want Elo to get away. Elo's dead. It is what it is. If we manage to liberate the shrine through attrition, which might not be possible because this guy might be out of magic points or reagents. If there's any limitation on his spellcasting, he might be out of boom spells. That's satisfying. I'm gonna take it. It's a Pyrrhic victory, but I mean, we're close to Minnock. We'll get Elo back. Don't worry, Gweno. We'll get him back. Hooray! Whatever gets the job done. You know what? Let's liberate the shrine, and then we'll... Oh, we haven't liberated the shrine. You can't say this guy isn't brave. He is fighting on. Alright, maybe he's less brave than we think. Maybe it's just literally... He knows something we don't. He knows that he can never be hit. Are you vulnerable? More vulnerable to magic than your pal? No. There we go. Heavily wounded. One shot. Okay. We'll do this with weapons. Dupre's heavily wounded. Ah, but heavily wounded for Dupre means plenty of hit points left. Probably not going to get killed by this one piddly little gargoyle. Come on, somebody. Or maybe he will get killed by this one piddly little gargoyle. Okay. Still heavily wounded. Critical. At the same time. This is a real battle of attrition. Oh, man. Still critical. Still critical. 4 hits in a row have not taken this critical guy to being dead. Alright. At great cost. The shrine, the mantra of justice is... Yeah, I think with the wrestling thing, it's that it's a fun... I like the gimmick that we came up with of like, we're playing wrestling games while talking about wrestling, except anyone who tunes in because they see that we're playing a wrestling game, it's probably just like, why aren't these guys talking about the fucking game they're playing? And anyone who would be interested in, why would anybody in the world care about our opinions about wrestling? We have no built-in audience. I think it's a gimmick that like some established wrestling podcaster should do on Twitch, not us. Okay, what's the mantra here? The mantra here is bet. Liberation. Oh wow. The avatar is laden down. Perhaps I will just hand off... Do I have a rubber duck? Yes, but it's not heavy. What is weighing me down here? Just the accumulation of stuff, I guess? I don't need these boots. How much do the boots weigh? Less than a moonstone. Throw those boots away. Still can't take the moonstone. Oh my goodness. This is zany. Oh, you know what? Here. ELO. Oh no! So just get ELO to split up the gold. What have we done? It doesn't matter. The avatar doesn't need to be the one who holds every single thing. Okay. At long last, and at great cost, we've liberated the Shrine of Justice. I will now add the word liberated to my spreadsheet here. So, as we come to the end, because this is the end, I gotta get going, here's where we are. We have 7 of the 8 runes. We just need honesty, and the next time I go to Moonglow, I'll look a little harder for the graves, because it's just in a grave, from what I've been told. If the guy is indeed buried in a cemetery on Dagger Isle, we'll find it. We have liberated 5 shrines. So the Shrine of Honesty, we need the rune first. Shrine of Humility was another one that I had trouble fighting at. So given how this went, maybe it is time to get a little bit better before we go back there. And the Shrine of Spirituality, it's just a pain in the ass to get there. That's the only thing holding me back now because I found the rune. So onwards and upwards, the adventure continues. We learned some stuff about the gargoyles today and our ability to go to their land with the over the moons. And although I haven't executed anything to do with it yet, I understand now how the Blue Moongates work. So fast travel is just sort of at my fingertips, except you're still kind of relying on the moon cycle, which takes a long time to happen. At least there's 2 moons that are in different phases. I guess I can see how that's helpful. So bit by bit, things are coming together. Next time, we'll get ELO fixed up in Minnock, then we'll head down south of... then we gotta go somewhere to get reagents, so maybe we'll swing by Moonglow, look for that grave, get some reagents, come back, go to the former Keep It Shadow Lords, search that basement, use Magic Unlock to actually go a little bit further, and that's gonna be fun. Lots of things are gonna be fun. I think Greg and I will be back on Thursday. Don't quote me on that, but I think Greg and I will be back on Thursday with something. If not wrestling, then something new. Friday Night Forgotten Circles should resume on Fridays if you're into Gloomhaven. And then next weekend, I'll be playing Star Control 2 on Saturday, starting my 3rd run, my 3rd and hopefully the charm time through the game. And then we'll be back here in Britannia next Sunday. And I can't wait until the moment comes. The moons are in the right position in the sky. And we step into the right Moongate at the right time. We're all in the same place together again. Until that time comes, take care of yourselves. And be kind to everyone you meet.